Nicky, the InterContinental Hotel in Dublin, you're the biggest five-star property in Dublin. How's the season looking?
Good, actually, Owen. Yeah, we're actually exceptionally busy at the moment, I have to say. It's really taken off very quickly, to be honest, surprisingly. I think, like most hotels, probably a bit of a slow start in January, got busier in February, but I have to say, it's exceptionally busy at the moment. We're enjoying great business levels. We're, in many cases, back to 2019 levels. And, when I look at months like March and April and May, we're even slightly ahead of 2019. Now we might be marginally down in occupancy, but we're up on rate and overall revenues are ahead of 2019. So it's actually looking very good.
Great. And Nicky, is that the domestic market or the international visitor or a bit of both?
It's a mix of both, actually, Owen. Yeah, the domestic market has been very strong for us, and each time actually that we reopened during the 2 years of the pandemic, we took off pretty quickly. I think people felt safe that we were maybe a little bit outside the city, having plenty of space and gardens and so on. So yeah, we got busier each time, more so than we thought we would do. But so the other thing we're finding on is that our incentive business is back. I suppose a lot of the big groups that were due to happen in 20 and 21 are now thankfully happening, and we've had a number of those over the last few weeks, and we continue to have them this week and this month. So they're a great piece of business, and great that people are traveling. So many of those are actually from the US. So it's that, and we look after an airline crew here, so they're flying, and we're finding a lot of our local corporate businesses coming back, and some beginning to come from the UK and US as well. So things are starting to definitely move.
Great. And is that the same? I know you're part of the MHL collection. You have a number of properties in the country. Is that the same across the whole group, or is your own property performing better than the market?
Yeah, from what I gather, Owen, it's the same across the group, to be honest. Yeah, obviously we have a number of properties like Powers Court in the west and in the city, and then Glenlow and the Galmount in the west, and the Strand in Limerick, to name a few of the 12 properties. But no, I'm seeing that they're all doing very, very well. Doing well on the business front, particularly the ones in Dublin, and then busy at the weekends, I suppose, helped by events going on, like even the Ed Sheeran concerts and the rugby that was on recently. So no, I'm hearing that they're all back doing very well.
Great, that's really encouraging. And COVID was difficult, particularly for Dublin, because there wasn't the domestic market like, for example, the Wild Atlantic Way had. So it was a tough time, but you guys were clever insofar as you used that period to actually invest and refurbish the hotel, didn't you?
We did, Owen, yeah. We had planned to do some refurbishment, and obviously when COVID came along, we continued with that. So we refurbished most of our ground floor, the reception area, the lobby, which is the heart of the hotel. We've got a great space there, our Seasons restaurant. And then I suppose in preparation for the reopening, we started working on a new outdoor dining concept. So in reality, when we're very busy here during the summer, we can actually accommodate about 120 people outside on the veranda at the back. And we did a whole new covered area with proper lighting and heating, which proved really popular. And obviously we were fortunate to have the weather as well last year. So I think it really put us on the map for outdoor dining, and people coming in. I suppose a lot of people felt safer dining outside rather than inside. Yeah. So yeah, we did. And we've continued with our bedroom refurbishment. In fact, we're adding another 7 bedrooms in the hotel as we speak. So that'll bring our room stock up to 215 by the end of July, of which 50 of those are suites. So we're very fortunate to have such a high level of suites within the hotel.
Yeah, and you're in a prime location there, Dublin 4, Ballsbridge. The new Facebook, of course, is going up across the road from you effectively. Is that a source of business? I mean, how does the Facebook business model work? Do they need a sort of a property or a venue such as your own for various things?
They do actually, and yeah, and we're very excited about Facebook, to be honest. And we're already seeing good production levels from them already, even though they haven't fully moved in there. I think they have about 1,000 people in there so far in the back office. And they're obviously developing the front office. So eventually by 23, they're hoping to have 8,500 people in the offices. Now that may be a hybrid model for some, but that they're the numbers they're talking about. But no, at the moment they're actually producing. I think we're finding they're going to have a need for a 5-star for some of their executives that are coming over, and then probably a 4-star requirement in the area as well. But already producing. So very excited about that.
Great, and it's super to have them on your doorstep. I know we're talking in quite a positive vein, which, and long may that continue, but there are challenges, aren't there, for us in the tourism industry, and I'm sure you're facing it as well. I suppose, the main one, I suppose, is labor shortage. Are you seeing that? Are you struggling to recruit staff, or are you okay on that front?
Yeah, in a lot of areas, actually, thankfully, we're doing okay. And I think that's a testament to many of my heads of departments that kept in very close contact with their teams during during COVID, and obviously calling them back as we needed them, and our team were very supportive. So we're fortunate. We did lose a few key people, which was sad, but we managed to retain an awful lot of people, which is great. But look, it is a challenge. We're doing well in outlets and on the ground floor. A little bit tight on the accommodation front. We would have had over 300 staff, about 320 pre-COVID. We're probably hovering around 250, 260 at the moment. So we're actively recruiting for sure. We have had a little bit of success with our friends from the Ukraine, obviously with their very unfortunate situation, but we have had some of those people join us recently, which is fantastic, and hopefully more to come. But yeah, I think we're overall doing well, but we're still recruiting, and we need some more.
Yeah, and it kind of shows. I mean, you know, the InterContinental is a case in point. We have 300 jobs. You know, there's very few other employers. I mean, I know we talked about the Facebook, who are an exception, but there's very few other employers that within one structure can actually have that many employees and that many workers.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's a big operation, and I suppose look, it's just so diverse in terms of, you know, the room side is busy. We have the largest 5-star banqueting facilities, and all of those events, the charity lunches, the dinners, they're all back, and we're finding that their numbers, if anything, are going up. So they might have booked for 400 and they end up with maybe, you know, they're looking at the finish for maybe 470, 480, or our large ballroom can do 500, and then the smaller ballroom 200. So yeah, we're always recruiting on that side of the business, but it's a big operation, and I suppose we're a big employer, not just the Intercom, but MHL Hotels.
Yeah, of course. How are you managing with the whole kind of soaring costs of business that we're all struggling with, you know, whether it's insurance or, you know, labor or energy? And of course, we're all worried about a VAT increase on September 1st. I mean, that must be a sort of a concern, because we have to remember to remain value for money at all times.
Correct, Owen. Yeah, there's some really serious challenges at the moment, and some of which you've mentioned. I mean, on the labour side, we've had to look at that and work with, again, individual managers in terms of their structures and what we needed to do to retain people. So that's being looked at as a hotel and as a company. Things like utilities extortionately gone up. So again, we're trying to look at initiatives in house to try and reduce those. So we're investing a lot of money in LED bulbs. For example, at the moment, we have a program to replace all of the bulbs in the hotel to LED. So obviously there's the initial massive outlay to do that, but hopefully we'll see the benefits of that on the bills. Unfortunately, some of our prices like meats and coffee and so on have gone up. So an amount of that, obviously, we have to pass on to the guests. But I suppose as a group, again, you know, we try and negotiate with our suppliers to try and get the best prices. And there's only so much you can pass on as well. I'd be very conscious of the VAT that you mentioned. I mean, it's definitely not the year to increase the VAT up to 13.5%. So I think as an industry, you know, we'd be lobbying very hard to retain that so that it doesn't change come September. Yeah.
And you mentioned LED light bulbs and so on. Do you take within the group, do you take sustainability seriously? And are there significant initiatives underway? Because I think we as an industry don't maybe talk enough about the great work we're already doing in that space.
I think to be honest, Owen, I think we've been slow as an industry to really sort of tackle it. But I think, to be honest, this year now, and in light of the cost increasing, everybody is having to look at it very seriously. So I suppose being part of we're a franchise property of InterContinental, they're very focused on it too. So we have to provide readings and show that we're trying to reduce them and produce action plans. And, you know, so things are now happening, and even down to in our bathrooms where we were using all the miniature bottles, we've moved over to bulk amenities. They're all being installed at the moment. So I think as a company, InterContinental, and as MHL Hotels, we're probably for the first time very seriously focused on it.
Yeah. Great, Nicky. Listen, best of luck for the year ahead. I know it's been 2 really tough years, but better times ahead.
Thank you very much, Owen.